Step number one, folks, get line of sight on your money. So part of that, as a segue, Ben, is because you want to work out how long the current money will last.
Correct.
You want to be able to split up essential versus discretionary.
100%.
And be clear on what you think the difference between essential and discretionary is, Ben.
Essential's keeping you alive,
yeah,
and keeping you healthy, Bryce.
Mm-hmm.
That's essential.
Yeah.
Right? So
food, shelter,
heating and cooling, well, it's going to be utilities, right?
Yeah.
But even then, you could ring up and get a discount on your utility bills. You'd be amazed. There are free government websites that you can go to where you can check your energy program and package. You can get sharper on that. Any type of subscriptions or things that you're paying for on a weekly, monthly, fortnight, they should go. I mean, there is a lot of free information out there. We've seen some of the service providers offering free kids programs and all of that. You've got iView, which is a wealth of great content, and that through Auntie. So be really critical on yourself in terms of what is essential and then what you put in your discretionary column. Mm-hmm. And you'd be amazed in terms of how much cash you can find. That if you don't have a buffer, or if you have credit card debt or that, how quickly you can retire that and get money fit, Bryce.
I like it, Ben. Just remember, interest only has a higher rate, but the cash flow commitment is less, Ben.
Yep.
So if you're putting your money into offset, though, that starts to compound and become a snowball running down the mountain, so you have less commitments, but doing the same thing as if you were paying principal and interest repayment, Ben. You've got some others as well.
Well, we talked about the fixed rates and the variable rates and asking for this. That's going to help with cash flow. The other thing that you can also do in terms of a combination of your borrowings and your cash flow, you can, rather than doing a repayment holiday, Bryce, you could reset your mortgage. So if you've got, say, 15 years to go on your mortgage, your principal amount of payment and those overall repayments are traditionally higher, reset it back to 20. And that will, or 25, just get it right in terms of what you can afford to do, because I'd much prefer you not to take a repayment freeze because it's just going to be costly.
Now, Ben, we've talked about setting up Money Smarts, which is clearly the umbrella under cash flow management, but it also highlights the fact that you don't ever want to rely on the government, Ben, because if you're a casual worker right now, you wouldn't, you'd be left out.
Under 12 months,
I've got a lot of people in the television industry, Ben, who I'm connected with. They're the freelance world.
Yeah.
They've been missed.
Yep.
So you don't want to rely on the government. Now, the government's done a good job to provide stimulus in a time like this, but there are people who are missing out, Ben. And they will slip through the cracks. So ultimately, the bigger picture of cash flow management is clearly the government's there to help stimulate, but never rely on the government.
You've got to own your money management, people. You have to own it. The government's there as a safety net, and hopefully you should never want to call on it. And if that is the one bit of financial advice that I could give, my number one tip ever is that you should never ever rely on someone else to create your financial freedom. Nothing upsets me more, and it's never been more highlighted, that people who live paycheck to paycheck. Now, with the exceptions that there are some people in the community whose circumstances have delivered that outcome that I haven't been in control of.
Correct.
And so I respectfully acknowledge those people to sort of say, this is through no fault of your own. There's no judgment in terms of those people who are struggling. But there is very much judgment, Bryce. There is. I'm being judgmental.
I can see the gritted teeth.
I'm being judgmental for those people who are living beyond their means and who are basically been spending their money on discretionary items that really don't bring them happiness at all. I know in this new area where we're not to have judgment, I think sometimes a firm little bit of eyeballing to people to sort of say that's unacceptable. If you want a situation to change, you need to change your situation. And so if this is not a wake-up call for those people who have not taken their money management seriously, who have not organised and got a money management program in place, I'm eyeballing you right now. And I will happily clap and cheer for you when you get out the other side of, number one, getting in charge of your finances. If you don't do that, then you don't have an excuse for me. You do not have an excuse for me because you have the time, you're isolated, you're at home, you need to get organised and basically work out exactly how much money you have and how much money and how long that money will last you for. And if you don't do that, then don't whinge to the government, don't whinge to me, don't whinge to anyone else about your financial affairs. Again, with the exception of those people who, through no fault of their own, have challenges around their financial story because of their life events or circumstances.
Mate, Jamin says insecurity left unchecked leads to madness.
Yep.
People who are insecure and are used to getting significance out of spending money all the time, about how many times they go to a restaurant every week, about what car they drive, all those significance, those search for significance thing that require them to spend money that makes them feel good in the moment, that doesn't make them feel good long term, because they will chase the next high, Ben, every single day. That is what you're talking about, folks. So again, we are quarantining the people who are under no fault of their own. They're in hardship right now, and that our hearts go out to them. But
I'm saying to you, this is your moment to think about your future and your money management future. Sharpen up your attitude, sharpen up your behaviour and your action in terms of how you look at money management. I don't care if you don't use our tools, just do it. Just do it with another tool.
Get a napkin,
I don't care.
get a pen.
Don't care. Use a barefoot.
Money
I don't
in,
care.
money
Use
out.
anyone.
Yeah.
Right? Just make it happen.
And make sure that the money you earn is greater than the money you spend. Doesn't matter whose system you use. Just make sure that is the overarching principle.
And then put it to work.
Yeah.
Put it to work.